Inktober, Day 18, Drive. Do you know, I don't drive. I've never had a single driving lesson in my life. I've simply no interest going head to head and playing chicken with other drivers on the road, as they quite often terrify me. I simply do not trust drivers, so I don't drive. But I do like to be driven. I've even bought cars for the pleasure of others driving me. I love seeing the world whiz by and having the wind blow my hair into my face. But I got hit by a car when I was little. I was with a group of friends with our bikes, and I was at the back. And by the time the group had crossed the road, a car had not noticed and turned into us. Luckily, I was pushing my bike and wasn't riding it, so the bike took the brunt of the hit, but I was bruised from my shoulder down to my knee from the impact. I remember they got out the car and asked if I was okay, and in shock I said, "I'm fine," and just walked away. But I wasn't fine. You see, I had borrowed my older brother's bike that day, as I'd grown out of mine, and I was going to be in serious trouble as the wheel was now buckled. My friends hadn't really noticed the car, so I had to explain why I was now pushing the bike on one wheel and holding the broken one in the air by the seat. We all decided that my brother would definitely go mental and that the best course of action would be to hide the bike at the back of the garage where no one would see it and claim complete ignorance if it was ever found broken. He had a racer bike anyway, he didn't need two bikes. But, unbeknownst to me, the car that had hit me sneakily followed me home, and as soon as I got in, they rang the doorbell and spoke to my parents. Apparently it was a learner driver having a lesson, and the accident was all my fault. Being the generation that I am, they believed the adults, and I got such a telling off. Mainly because my parents were embarrassed, as I had snuck in and not told them. They made me go to bed at 2 in the afternoon and said the police had been in touch and that I was in serious trouble and that I had nearly had to go to the police station to be arrested, but that they were happy because my parents had severely disciplined me and had sent me to bed to do lines. And I was made to do lines. I must not tell lies. 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 Pages and pages of it all afternoon. And I hid my injury from them because I knew they'd poke and prod and hurt me more and shout at me for not telling them about that too. Now, as an adult, I know very well that the car driver was in the wrong. They only looked right when pulling out and didn't look left and crashed into a group of children. I'd been told you never cycle across the road, but you get off and you wait and you push it across. That driving instructor would have lost his job if he'd admitted that they were at fault. Which is why they sneakily followed me and knocked on the door, accusing me first. I hated that I was blamed and no one listened to what I said, as it wasn't my fault. I hated that all they seemed to care about was embarrassment and my brother's bike and not about me. I hated that I was hurting and that they hurt me more by making me do lines. I hated that my parents made me do lines, as I thought they were now no different from horrible teachers. So I don't drive, and I have never taken a single lesson, and I probably never will. The irony is that many, many years later, my parents were in accidents, and people tried to accuse them of being in the wrong too, and they thought it was outrageous. All this taught me very early on that people in authority can't be trusted. It was a very wise and valuable lesson. But anyway, enough of my jibber-jabber about bygone years. Can you guess why this drawing is peachy colour? You'll never guess. I'm adding a layer of varnish after I do the penciling to set it in place and to make the pencil matte, and I make sure I wash my brushes carefully. I set my varnish brushes out to dry in my bathroom, and for this drawing I accidentally picked up my foundation brush, which looks exactly the same, and dipped it into the varnish. So that peach is actually a faint layer of my makeup that I accidentally painted into the sky. The second it went on, I was a little shocked by my error, and then I thought, it looks quite good. I would never have chosen to paint it peachy by choice, but it has the glow of a sunrise or sunset on a rainy day, which is absolutely perfect.